Guys, it is done. Keyboard modularity is now a thing on Linux. If you don't know what that means, it's alright. If you are a Vim user, though, you already know what I'm talking about. It is the ability to remap your entire keyboard to do a different set of actions when you are in a certain mode. And you're thinking, well, how do you do that with an entire system? What does that exactly mean? And we're going to get into that. So, first of all, I'm going to open up Discord. Discord's a proprietary piece of software. It's not like you can just change things on the fly. Well, actually it can't. You can. And I've entered hotkey mode here. I can press things like U and I to move down servers and stuff on Discord. I can press H and L to move up and down channels. And I can press J and, whoops, I need to channel some history. I can use J and K to scroll up and down in the chat. And then, when I'm done, I can press hotkey, my super key, and grave again to go back into normal. And I can just type whatever I want normally in the program, and it just works. So how did I do this? How was I able to map keys like H, J, K, and L to combinations of keys? Because normally these keyboard shortcuts are like Alt up, Alt down, Control Alt up, Control Alt down, stuff like that in Discord. So how did I manage to do this? And well, let's have a look real quick. So first of all, we're going to look at what Supergrave does, and it opens config scripts hotkey. So key hot is the file it opens. So what it does is I check to see if the mode is enabled by seeing if the keys hot file exists. Not to be confused with the key hot file. It's not a very good naming system, but I just kind of threw this together all pretty quickly. So what it does is it actually loads into simple hotkey daemon an extra config file, which is found in the scripts folder. In my scripts folder, and it's this folder, the simplex hotkey daemon keys. And then, depending on the application, it will load up these special keybinds, such as I can J, K, H, L, U, I, and O, and semicolon. I have all mapped to navigating channels in Discord, which are really useful. So this is the script that starts it, and at the very end, it's the manage hotkeys script. So we're going to open that up real quick. The manage hotkeys folder, or file. So this is the importance file. This is where all the good stuff is. What it does is we get the title of the window that is currently focused using xtitle, and get awk the last line out of that using nf. We put it into the new title. We see if the title changes by running this loop here. And we just check to see if it's new every 0.3 seconds while hotkey mode is activated. And we run down here and blah, blah, blah. We kill the simplex hotkey daemon and fire up a new instance of it with this as an extra config on top of the normal config. And then what we do is we can update the xmod map if we need to, which hard remaps keys. But it's not super useful since you cannot map combinations of keys. This is why we need the simple X hotkey daemon to run things. It's because we need Alt up, we need Alt down, Control Alt up, Control Alt down, just to handle all these sorts of things. And then this just runs infinitely, basically, checking each time we change windows. And as we change windows, it will update as necessary while we're in hotkey mode or not. So let's go back into Discord. I'll show it again. Now, the only caveat to this is you may have noticed in this file, I sleep for 0.1 or 0.15 seconds. And what happens is when you run xdotool in simplex hotkey daemon, the key needs to not be held when it runs xdotool, or it will not actually register the key press for some reason. There's a GitHub page I've linked down in the description of an error I submitted to xdotool about this and simplex hotkey daemon that I will also link. Here's the issue I submitted. If you want to read all this, that's fine if you want, but Sear Light is actually the one who helped me figure out the sleep 0.1 was necessary to get it to work. Also, Jordan Cecil helped a lot with this. So yeah, if you want to read this whole issue, you can. I'll have it linked down in the description. But there are some limitations we need to go over with this. First of all is you can only bind normal keys. You can't bind key plus shift, key plus control, key plus alt, whatever, to map to other keys. That's why it's mapped to JK, HL, U, and I instead of JK, Shift JK, and HL in this case, to match Vim binds a little bit closer. So, with that in mind, that is the first limitation. The second limitation is just a limitation in the SimpleX hotkey daemon. You also cannot use variations of key codes. Like I showed at the beginning with the Xmod map, you can only choose things in this first column here. Like, you can't use a capital B or a capital C and map those. It doesn't actually work. And the thing is, this also applies to mode shift and ISO level 3 shift or alt graphic to get things. So that's something you're going to want to keep in mind when mapping things. Other than that, it works fine. That plus you have to release the key within the amount of time that you command here, and the key action is delayed by that amount of time. So you want some delay, but not too much delay, because if you're slow at pressing a key, it will not actually run the command it's supposed to. It will do nothing. So it is kind of jank in its current state. It's definitely not perfect, but it does work. It does actually work, and we're getting closer to where if you run a tiling window manager, you will not ever need to do anything other than touch the keyboard. And that's what I would really like, even in proprietary software, as much as I dislike proprietary software sometimes. This is hopefully going to make things easier to use, because now you have access to mapping like inconveniently placed keyboard shortcuts to very convenient places on your keyboard by just switching modes. So that's going to be it from me, guys. I might be putting out more Linux videos like this. I want to go over more just generally the keyboard and remapping key codes, as well as displaying, getting information of what key is currently pressed. So, stay tuned for that. I'll also be posting some other videos about other things, probably. So, yeah, subscribe if you want.